A few weeks ago here in England, we had like the most incredible weather, 28 to 32 degrees every day, soaking in sun. Today it's actually the end of June almost, and we got grey, gloomy weather with a bit of showers. I don't really understand what's going on. I think it's from global warming. Well, we need to take care of our planet then, innit? If this kind of weather in England we're getting at the end of June, when we should be having 25-30 degrees heat, and we're getting gloomy grey clouds. Have a look. Anyway, it's not a vlog. Actually, we're gonna go to the office and we're gonna talk about some tips on photography and how I may be able to help you get in your photography game to another level. Stick around. Okay, so we're back at the office and we're gonna go through a few tips that I'd like to share with you regarding photography. Maybe you want to use these tips to up your game in photography. These are probably, for myself, maybe not tips, but these are mistakes or maybe something that I don't follow or learn from them. And now that I know that these are mistakes for myself, I now use them to make my photography a bit better. So you can go ahead, maybe use these tips, or maybe even fill upon them to make your photography better. So let's go through them. Okay, so these are mainly the things that I like to use. I would highly recommend going ahead with some of these, maybe not all, but they might not be suitable for your sort of technique of photography. Maybe props, maybe colors, maybe locations, but I would highly recommend, if you could, you maybe use these, because these are probably mistakes that I have learned from, which I would like to share with you. I mainly go through these while editing as well. So first and foremost, I think one of the tips that I would like to share with you is that to take pictures, right? Enough of them. Always take enough pictures. It's the worst feeling that when you take a picture and then you go back and then you have a look at it and you think, maybe, there was something there that shouldn't have been there. Maybe I should have used a different level of photography. Maybe I should have used a different part of that photography. Maybe I should have moved myself from that position to another position, maybe a little bit higher up, maybe a little bit lower down. So always take pictures from different perspectives and you might get the best point of view, I would say, because the worst feeling is that when you go back to editing or you go back to that picture, you feel that, there's something that is missing here, or there is something in this picture that shouldn't be there right now. And I should have taken more pictures of this. So I am guilty of that. I'm sort of a run and gun sort of photographer that clips on the lens onto the camera and I'm just there shooting away, and I take a few pictures and I think, okay, fine, this is fine, let's go back, let's go, I think we're done for today. But then when I go back to it, I feel that, oh my god, I should have taken a few more pictures of this, which I am guilty of. So I would like to share that with you, to say always take enough pictures. Okay, now tip number 2, I would say for tip number 2 is have a few apps, whether that is on your phone, whether that is on your laptop, whatever device you use, from Android or Apple. Have a few apps on your phone. These will help you to edit your pictures. Mine is, I would like to use, mostly on my phone, I use Lightroom, which is everyone's favorite. Lightroom helps me with a lot of things. It is like a cloud-based system. It stores all my pictures here, as you can see. It's got pictures from years ago of the London, of Christmas of 2019, of my Dubai trip, my friends that I hang out with in London, in Central. You know, it's like a cloud base of what I have of all the pictures that I take, but it's got a lovely sort of way of editing the pictures as well. You can edit them through cropping them, through dropping the light, dropping the colors, you know, the detail aspect, you know, the geometry, and it is just a lovely app to have. Along with that, I also tend to use Snapseed. Allows you to pop the pictures, gives you a morning glow, gives you a structure of what you want to do. It's a lovely pop-up box here that you see. It's got a tools here which lets you tune the image. So if we were to pull this up, this will allow you to change the brightness, the contrast, the saturation, the ambience, the highlights, the shadows, the warmth. So these are all different things that would allow you to go through that. The other tools it has is so many of them. It's got the curves right here, which will put a little box over your pictures, and then as you move it, your contrast and your light with that moves as well, which helps you to develop a different aspect to your pictures. Some of the other tools that I like to use is the text. This will allow you to write whatever you want over your pictures. It's a lovely way to give a different look to your picture, and then you just export that by saving a copy, and it will get saved into your profile. One of the other apps that I like to use is Lens Distortion. Lens Distortion is a lovely app. If you take pictures in the daytime of golden hour, of sunset, sunrise, even nighttime pictures, Lens Distortion is a lovely app to have. It's just amazing on how Lens Distortion works. It's got different flares. It can give you a moody look with shimmers, with rain in the background. You can add all these different sort of fake elements into your pictures to make it look as if it's raining, to make it look as if it's snowing, to make it look as if it's you know, there's a light shining in the background. As you can see, you can just move these little shimmers into position to make it look as if the light is glowing from a different angle. Lens Distortion is one of those apps that are fabulous to use. I would highly recommend that you download Lens Distortion. Another tip, let's say this is tip number, have we lost track? I think tip number 3. I think we're on tip number 3, is to have consistency. I love having consistency in my Instagram. I didn't start this from day one on my Instagram. If we go back to all the way at the bottom, I didn't start my Instagram with consistency. I used to love taking pictures. I started this game way back in the years and years ago, but I didn't have the consistency. I used to just take pictures and just post them. And then I started figuring out that, okay, what is it that I would like to go towards my sort of like, I don't know, what do you call it? The niche, I would say. What is it that I'm good at? What is it that I enjoy? And then I figured out that, yes, I quite enjoy the dark, the moody look of my pictures, the night photography. Most of my pictures on Instagram are taken in the night, are taken in the dark. I just love that style of photography where, you know, I just take away the light. I just take away the light of the picture, and I just like to keep the moodiness of the picture, the darkness of the picture, and just, you know, just post that up. But basically, I didn't used to carry a trend of on how to post these pictures on Instagram. Then I figured out that I should post pictures in tiles, so going from left to right. And then I started keeping that consistency of a theme. For example, you can see here, if I'm doing a product photography, I tend to keep that sort of picture going from left to right, even if I'm taking a picture of landscape from going left to right. So I would take a picture and post it of central London, then I would put another picture of perhaps something else to do with central London, and then the last one would be again of central London. However, if it was something to do with photography, for example here, with product photography, I would say I would post something of the same trend going from left to right. And that has given me the consistency of carrying on thereafter, of keeping the same sort of theme, same sort of aspect of what I'm trying to show, what I'm trying to go through with my Instagram and with my photography. I love the night look. I love taking pictures in the night. Most of my pictures are of in the night of wherever I am, whether it's product or London or whether it's Dubai. Missing Dubai at the moment, technically. Anyway, but you know, I'm trying to keep a trend, trying to keep a consistency of my pictures, of that niche, of the moody look, of the night photography, which I love to do, which I feel that is the best for me. I love the look of night photography, and I think I carry that trend forward going. The last one, I would say one of the tips to have is to always have a tripod. I hate tripod. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a great fan of tripod. I don't like buying one. I do have a number of them. I have 2 tripods, and I have a Gorilla Pod as well, which is what I'm filming on at the moment. But I'm not a great fan of tripod. They're huge. You gotta carry them around. You gotta open up the legs, pulling them out. You know, it's just hard work, I would say. I'm more of a run and gun photographer. I just like to clip the lens on, take pictures, handheld, go in, have fun, get out. Long ago, a few months back I think now, of night photography in London, where I took the tripod with me and myself, when me and my friend went to London, and I had to take the tripod with me. And every time we had to take that thing out, open up the legs, take it out, place it, put the camera on it, put the settings on, okay, to get those night shots of central London. It's a bit of a daunting nightmare, but you gotta have a tripod. So I'll highly suggest that you invest in a tripod and keep it with you, because it does come handy. It's not even fun buying one, I would say. Like, I wouldn't even walk in to a shop with a smile to buy a tripod, but it's really handy to have a tripod, I would say. But yes, but these are tips that you can use to up your photography game. You don't have to use all of them, but I would say that these are tips that I have learned from. These are probably mistakes that I have learned from to up my photography game, and I would suggest that you do as well, and it would really help your photography level to boost it up. Anyway, I think that's the end of the video. Hit the like button if you like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.